Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy
crash
history podcast. I'm filmmaker
car.
and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by
Stephen Daglaco, as always,
And?
terrified.
and we are in this beautiful, clean car of mine, driving
Not true.
to
You wish.
driving
it was
to
clean.
the P-Man's house to record some Patreon content.
Let's talk about this car situation, shall we?
Yeah.
Whose car is this?
This has to be addressed.
I'm driving, obviously, it's my car.
This is my car. It's a clean car. It's a nice car, similar to your car in make and model.
And
We were going to
cleanliness.
use your car, but there's about 18 Diet Dr. Pepper cans scattered. So
I think you're exaggerating. It was one Diet Dr. Pepper.
Brian's car is filled with fucking trash.
garbage.
I will
everywhere.
take a picture and post it. It's little.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
napkins.
you're going to post it clean.
Right.
No, I will post exactly
Yeah.
as it is.
Because you think he has the wherewithal to actually clean his car, even to fucking scam the listeners.
Right.
He won't.
Scam? How am I scamming the listeners on a free podcast?
You're trying to
Life is a
fucking
scam.
pass off your car as clean. I looked up the back seat; it was full of crumbs.
Yep.
And there aren't even people in the back seat.
Yep.
Who's going back there?
I think
Well,
it's
sometimes
child.
I
Who's
just-
eating fucking sandwiches back there?
My dog sometimes.
What?
Yeah.
Your dog?
Yeah. I
You feed your dog in your back seat.
sometimes. I eat a
Sure.
lot of meals in my car,
What's
so
the matter?
if I have my dog with me, I'll toss him a nice burg.
What is the matter?
One
Me and my
time-
dog burg out together.
One time, like 8 years ago, I went to the pizzeria and I got a couple slices of pizza and I was eating it in my car by myself. And Brian's mom happened to walk past me and she knocked on the window and she goes, "You look really lonely right now."
She was right. You were.
How'd you respond?
Brian's
I said,
swerving
"You're right."
already. Brian's swerving already. He can't do this.
What do you mean swerving? Ice possible. Drive with
So
care.
we're supposed to be reviewing a movie today.
Yeah, we're doing All Quiet on the Western Front.
I don't know
Right,
how.
a nice heavy movie that requires like
2.5-hour
thought
episode.
and you
Yeah.
know, like good conversation. And here we are in the back of a fucking car.
Well, it
This
was
is
either a
great.
skip week
Yeah,
or
or
this.
this.
So you guys will tell us in the future. Would you rather have shit shows or skips?
Time is of the essence.
Anyway, so
All quiet.
All Quiet. What'd you
Fairly
guys
new.
think?
Fairly new. First thoughts.
Oscar nominee.
This was fucking awesome.
Movie's amazing.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Brian?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
You didn't love it.
No,
Something
I thought it was really good. I thought it was well done. I just couldn't get into it. I think it may have been me. I just kind of wasn't in the mood to really watch anything, and
Didn't feel like getting heavy, getting German.
Yeah, you felt
Yeah,
like you
I
were
mean,
doing
like
work.
everything is well done and everything is like technically good. Like it's not a bad movie. It just didn't fully click with me.
Is it because it's German?
No, it's World War One. I don't care.
Well, I figured like just because the language barrier, like it feels weird watching them talk in English accents when it's like sometimes it feels.
Wait, you
off.
watch the dub?
Yeah,
Why do you always do this?
I actually didn't set it. I hit play and that's what it was, and I thought that's like all right, that's what they have on Netflix.
So I saw it. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a German movie. It's gonna be subbed.
Works
And
better
the
for me.
English started, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's English people doing it with no emotion, so the dub kind of ruins it.
I had to switch.
I know it was auto German, but that might be because I've seen it before and I set it up that way.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, either way, it doesn't take away from the visuals and the story. It's
True.
It's great.
Oh, I guess.
You know,
But yeah, very good movie.
Have you guys seen the original?
Never saw the original. I know about it, obviously. But holy shit.
Well, it's a different car. My car doesn't handle that way.
Your car doesn't handle well.
You have
No,
a Kia.
my car handles better.
Oh.
You have a Kia Forte. I have a Kia Forte.
Yeah.
I have a Will Forte.
Will Forte.
Well, mine might be a little looser because it's the model.
Yeah, my car, like, I could take my hand off the wheel. It goes straight.
Yeah, don't do that with mine. Don't take. Your
Oh,
hand
someone
off the
needs a wheel alignment.
Yeah. No, that's no. It's just that's. Yeah.
My car glides as softly as a cloud, like the monorail.
Yeah, it'd be great if it wasn't filled with garbage.
What's the resale value on a trash car? But yeah. So the First World War, pretty sick, huh?
Yeah. Now, listeners may not know there was the world was like a powder keg.
Oh God.
and it was just awaiting a spark. And
His ninth grade history
Yep.
textbook, Brian.
Yeah.
and the Archduke Ferdinand was shot by Garibaldi Princip,
No.
Giovanni Princip,
Gavriella.
Gavriello. God
Close
damn it,
enough.
I always do that.
Close enough. Way better than I would
Fucking
have got.
fork-tongued foreign names.
It's a shot heard around the world,
Goddamn
really.
Serbs.
Yeah, but he kills him, and now the world's at war.
But yeah, this movie is not that. It's more focused on the final hours of the war, really.
Yes.
The Treaty of 1918, the 11th hour,
The
right?
armistice.
The
That's
armistice.
my favorite shit in the movie, is all the
Yeah.
the train
So
stuff.
all of that is an addition for this version of the film. That's not in the original. It's not in the
Really?
book.
None of the treaty stuff.
No. The book is very, very much about the common soldier.
Mm.
Because it was written by one of these guys that was there. I forget his name. But there's like a heavy focus on the individual stuff. Like the key moment of the original story is that part where he kills the French soldier,
Mm.
right? With the knife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he like watches him die.
I mean, that's a huge part in this.
yeah.
You know?
And the like the book, as I understand, I've never read it, is about like one of the big themes is like talking about when they go home and they can't relate to anyone anymore.
Yeah,
And
they
what-
focus on that too here.
Not really,
A
because
little bit, yeah.
it's
they don't
kind of
even, like,
mentioned
make
and
it
alluded
home.
to, but they don't get home in the movie.
Well, what's his
Um,
name? The cat is talking about how how we're supposed to go home and just
Right,
kind of like
yeah.
relive after this, you know?
Yeah. Like that teacher from the beginning that kind of riles them all up. Like he's in it again later.
Mhm.
Okay.
But yeah, the movie starts in 1917, which
Which movie is better, by the way, 1917 or this?
I like this better.
Ooh.
I like 1917 better.
I think 1917 has a
They're both
way
great.
way more style.
And I think it's also my preference with a movie where like this movie kind of meanders a bit. And I get
Really?
that's kind of the point. Whereas like I like a mission focused movie where
Mm.
like he like
They
in,
have
ni-
something to do.
in 1917 it's like I got to get this thing to that place.
Yeah.
And it's the story of how he does that. Where
In
this
one
is
shot.
like yeah, this is happening and this is happening. This sucks,
well,
you know.
it's I don't know if it's like this is happening and this is happening. It's
This
more
one,
like, hey,
this one is about
try to
misery.
survive. Like, how is this
Yeah.
person going to survive through the utmost hell? And what's great about this film, and I think it does better than probably most that I've seen, is the violence. The violence in this is so
Visceral.
brutal, but so honest. Like, you stab someone, they don't die in a second. I hate to break it to you. Like, it takes some time to die.
We learned that from Christopher Lee.
You know? Yeah. Somebody gets shot. It's not like blood splattering everywhere. You know, you're getting a hole and like that's it. It's very good. It's very close, and the violence is personal in this movie more so than others. I feel.
The trench warfare is handled well.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing bad in the movie. I think it's just a personal preference thing.
I will say this about the trench stuff and the historical accuracy of it all. So if you look at the end of the First World War,
Yes.
combat has evolved quite a lot from the beginning of the war. And it starts to look a lot like World War II.
Yeah.
Where
It's
the war
beginning
of
to
war
look
of
a
movement
lot like
returns.
World War II.
Thank you.
Everywhere you look, there's a German with a gun. Jews are on the run. They're leaving Europe once again.
You know what's great about?
Come on, that was good.
There's such a benefit about doing this in a car in which I can jump out and kill myself.
But yeah, it's looking like World War II.
Yeah, like the tactics started to change. So actually, the combat depicted in the film is probably closer to like what 1916, 1915 looked like,
Mhm.
and not so much what late 17 and 18.
Do you think that's more shorthand for the audience? Because
Yes, because that's the, you're doing a World War I movie, that's what it's got to look like. You've got
Yeah.
the giant trench systems. And even the trenches themselves, by the end of the war, were starting to turn into like these giant fortified bunkers
Mhm.
more than, like the classic looking trench thing
Yeah.
that we see with all the mud and everything.
they were more like if
You look at the Maginot Line in World War II, it was starting to look like that. You have like these domed machine gun nests and
Yeah.
shit like that.
The machine gun is here just kind of out in the open.
Right.
Yeah. But what's great about this also is it encapsulates the change of warfare at the time. Like you said, like warfare was evolving. So you have gas, you have tanks. These are all new to on the scene.
Well, that's the big epic scene in the movie, right?
Yeah.
The Germans attack French trench and they clear it pretty well.
Yeah.
And then are immediately counterattacked by tanks, followed up by flamethrowers, followed up by infantry.
And artillery.
Yeah.
Artillery becomes like the main
The
focus
creeping
here.
barrage.
The
Yeah,
tanks are
creeping
such a
barrage.
motherfucker in this when they show up.
Oh,
Yeah.
they look awesome.
I don't know if I've said it on the show before, but my great-grandfather, who was in World War One, he was a Polak who fled Europe. He came to America, and then like, hey, guess what? You're going back.
Oh,
And-
yeah?
And he enlisted in, he did.
He volunteered.
What he didn't have I don't know. I know he was in World War One for the Americans, like he fought in our military, and I know he got hit with gas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was fucked up the rest of his life.
Nerve damage.
Like he lost his sense of smell and taste and all that.
Yeah, my great-grandfather had a similar experience. He was on the British side, though.
World War One.
Yeah, he like got gassed and was all fucked up about it for the rest of his life.
Yeah, we're gonna have that experience when Brian
I'm
starts
just
to rip
gonna
one.
fart. Yeah.
Class.
So those.
Yeah, right when I saw them today, they attacked my attire.
Brian is just a slob now. He stopped caring. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
happened.
Well, I
He's
got
got a-
married.
Very
I
bad,
don't give
very
a shit.
His sweatshirt he's wearing is just
stained.
visibly filthy.
Yeah.
Like there's mud on it or something. Or like
You look like if
awful
I
thing did you
touched
dump
you,
on
I'd have
yourself?
dirt on me, or at least get sticky.
Well, I was moving some shit around in my garage before, so.
So I gotta take the sweater off.
Why
Those
am I
tanks,
toasted?
Saint Chamons. That's what those
Right,
were the type
yeah,
of
the
tanks.
French tanks.
So you have these like awesome like guns in the front, but you also have guns on the side. But it seems like the peripherals don't really work well because that's how they get taken out. Like people come up to the side of them,
True. They're not very maneuverable, obviously. These are brand new
go
weapons.
straight and
Yeah.
hope for the best.
But they are designed essentially to overwhelm a trench system.
yeah, and they did.
And that's what they're good at and what they get used for.
Weren't
Yeah.
shotguns a big thing?
For the Americans.
Yeah, the boomstick.
The Germans actually tried to have them outlawed in the Geneva Convention after the war.
Yeah, I know.
Like just being unnecessarily brutal. Like jumping into a trench and clearing it with pump action shotguns.
Is the most badass
We
American thing you
fucking
could do.
rule.
So American. It's so good.
Yeah, the American. Another thing I want to point out. So the kind of the
Gotta
crux
stay
of the
right.
of the movie, I guess you'd call him the villain, is this general, the German
I'm gonna stay
general.
calm.
He's clearly a stand-in for Eric Ludendorff.
Oh yeah, I didn't. All right, I had some questions specifically about the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Did that actually happen? Like someone ordered like a final futile attack?
It did, but yeah. Look, I can't just give the Germans a pass here, because that definitely went on a smaller scale. But the people that are known for doing that shit, the United States of America. So John Pershing, who was the commander-in-chief of the American forces, was known on the final hours of the war to just keep attacking to gain, like, I don't know, prestige. It really was pointless. Harry Truman, future president, who was an artilleryman in the war, his artillery was firing right up into the last minute.
Well, we're winning. We've earned that right to just beat you down.
I think the last guy to die in the war is actually a dude from Baltimore.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
That sucks.
Was he like the only American to die? Because didn't we have like almost no casualties comparatively?
Oh, they paid a lot, actually. For the short time that the United States was in the war, our casualty numbers were very high.
Oh wow.
But that's due, I think, because when the Americans joined, they kind of refused to listen to the Europeans who have been doing this for a while.
Okay.
And we're just like, we're here to fucking set shit right. And just threw human waves like
We
it's
got
1914.
We got boomstick. We're good.
We were we're basically like, what was our last war? Spanish-American War?
Yeah,
So we're like bringing those
extremely
tactics.
different war.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this is right before they start negotiating the armistice, they say 40,000 people were killed in like a week or two, which is
It's mind-boggling.
astronomically
Yeah.
big for this time period and the weapons that they're using. Like,
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Ludendorff guy. So the real guy, Eric Ludendorff, is he became kind of the de facto head of Germany.
Okay.
He gained a lot of fame and prominence at the Battle of Tannenberg early on in the war, where the Russians had marched into East Prussia and were threatening Berlin itself, but they stupidly didn't understand radio and were talking to each other uncoded, so the Germans could just listen to everything they were doing, and
smooth.
completely destroyed an entire Russian army with much less numbers. Like,
They're talking. This new system is unhackable. No one will ever hear these. Let's tell each other all our private secrets and true positioning.
right. So the Germans were able to win like this insane victory that like knocked the Russians out of the war for like 8 months.
Oh my god.
And it saved Germany pretty much. And after that, Ludendorff became like this mega hero and rose through the ranks to kind of command. He's probably more powerful than the Kaiser towards the end of the war.
Okay.
When the military just takes over everything.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, he actually was fired and got ousted in October, where most of the movie takes place in November. So he would have been gone already.
Uh-huh.
But the guy they have, I think they call him Friedrich or something.
Yeah.
He looks like him. You know, and he's saying things and acting like Ludendorff would have.
He's a clear
being this
stand-in.
aristocrat guy. Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
And the movie's a fictional story, obviously, with some real world elements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's about this guy Paul, who as a kid, him and his teenage friends are like, we're gonna go fight, and they're all excited and happy about it.
You know what I was
And-
thinking of during that?
Yeah.
They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's a great documentary if you guys haven't seen it.
It's the best documentary.
Peter Jackson restores like
World War
War I footage
Yeah.
using like, I think he uses like a bunch of AI technology to like restore things that like have been lost for like almost a century.
Yeah, color grading, fixing the frame rates, fixing the missing frames. A ton of work was done in that
It's awesome.
documentary,
And
and it's
all of
mind
the
blowing.
dialogue in that is the actual like interviews with the guys.
And like
Right.
letters that people wrote that like
Yeah.
they read out loud, and it's all just like the soldier's perspective on the events of the war
And they'll
from the British side.
They'll find people from the area of the soldier. So let's say the soldier was born in a specific area, England. They'll get a voice actor from that area to speak
yeah,
that line.
yeah.
So it's very realistic, very well done. Probably the best documentary ever made. I think that
I
goes
loved
without
it.
saying.
I
It's
saw
fa-
it twice in the theater.
Twice
It's
in theater,
fantastic.
yeah.
But it reminded me of that because in the beginning of the doc, like when they're talking, so much of it is like young British men who are like excited to go to war,
Mhm.
and then by the end they're all like,
Almost are dead.
"This is fucking."
Most of them are dead.
Well, just like the testimonies you hear are
Yeah.
just like,
horror.
"This is like the worst shit ever,"
It was
and like they all
horrific.
started as exuberant boys.
Right, and it's crazy how the war like just physically changes, not only mentally like breaks them.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, they look like Ariana Grande now.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's rough, man.
We're like, I used to be one of the hottest women on the planet.
Now,
Now I look like a skeleton creature.
a little bit of mustard gas will do that to you.
That's what I want to do.
Steve, do you want to hold space?
Only if I can hold your specific pinky. No, you're driving.
I like to hold space when I drive. I had an ex-girlfriend who made me hold her hand the entire drive.
What?
And you couldn't let go?
I wasn't allowed to let go.
Are you serious?
Was she crazy? Were you driving or was she driving?
I was driving.
And you had to hold her hand the whole. Was it? It's like is that like a reoccurring thing, or was it just like a one-time thing?
Oh no, it was like all the time.
Ew. Ugh.
How did you not crash?
I'm just that good.
Maybe that's. Maybe she was just terrified of you driving. It was like, I need to hold on to someone. And you're the closest thing.
That's not forward thinking. Why are we going to Staten Island?
I'm not gonna go to Staten Island.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
you just made the wrong
made the
fucking
wrong
turn
turn.
because you're not supposed to do this while fucking driving.
We're fine. I got this.
No, you don't.
I got
I'm
this.
certain you don't. I'm
Jesus
pretty
Christ.
sure. I'm pretty sure that this
It's
will
just a work
cut
area.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, the work area just ended.
Yeah, I hope you got that
So-
dash cam footage.
I got the dash cam footage. Don't worry, I got it. We're uploading it. It's gonna say we're fine while we go back into Staten Island and I go home. You guys are taking Ubers
Look at
back.
this detour on the fucking GPS.
You put us right back to 30 minutes.
I added 5 minutes to the drive. I wanted more conversation. I did it for the listeners.
Good luck with this shit.
Anyway, so yeah, it
Oh my.
focuses on this group of friends, and they enlist together, and then they're brought to the front, and we get like their first day,
Yeah.
which is the beginning of the movie. I thought this was all very good. Kind of shows you how kind of the culture shock there. I don't think anybody could adapt to it really. You just
How do
gotta
you?
get
Yeah.
through it.
How do you?
When they enlist, is it already like how?
It's 1917. The war's
It's coming towards the end.
in its third year.
Okay.
Germany. I don't know what month it is when the movie starts, but I'll just say this: Germany's already like probably gonna lose,
It's not looking good for them.
but they pull off some amazing shit. So there's a revolution in Russia. I don't know if you know this.
Bolsheviks?
Yes. The Russians, who are obviously the big enemy in the East, and occupying over 1 million men of the German army, keeping them busy, along with the Austrians and the Bulgarians. Jesus Christ, you fucked up so bad.
It's a 5-minute detour.
Dude, it's good. We need the Tom fucking
Whatever.
episode.
So when the Bolsheviks take power in Russia, the first thing they do is surrender to the Germans. They're running on this whole thing of peace, land, and bread. Peace being the first and foremost thing, because Russia's doing worse than Germany, believe it or not.
Not surprising.
The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, essentially, Germany wins the war in the East. They won the war. They are given massive, massive amounts of Russian territory. And this frees up all of the fighting men in the East. So this is like early 1918, right around when the movie kind of starts.
They're able to make a second
The
push.
Germans, realizing that the United States is dumping boatloads of men into France at a rate that they cannot compete with, the German high command figures out we need to win the war now, or the math will kill us. So
Which they say in the movie at one point.
pretty much, yeah. They take all of the men on the Eastern Front. It's like 1 million guys. They throw them into the West, and they do what's called the Kaiserschlacht, which is
A sex move.
absolutely massive offensive.
You ever give your wife the Kaiser
Oh,
Schlacht?
every Wednesday.
Involves a lot of shit.
And a pointy
That's
helmet.
what they're known for.
You have to grow out your mustache for the movie. You need it.
So the Kaiserschlacht, and in particular, the opening barrage is called the Michael Offensive. Insanely effective. They throw like crazy amounts of men at all over the Western Front, and they actually smash it in a few places. The British, in particular, get rocked, and the Germans are poised to take the French city of Amiens. Amiens is like a giant railroad hub. So if the Germans take this will be a disaster for the Allies, possibly even war winning.
Okay, it's a big supply line.
But what ends up happening is the Germans, who have been blockaded for the last 3 years, their entire by the British Navy, the country is running out of food, and it's running out of all kinds of shit.
Are they running out of batteries?
They're running out of
This person's gonna get someone
batteries.
killed or themselves.
And because they're running out of all this stuff, the German soldiers are kind of starving, and they overrun the British and French supply depots and just stop and start stealing shit. And they can't follow up on the momentum they just got. And it just it ruins the whole offensive.
Wow.
Like in many, many places, like the Germans just, like you'll have like their commanders coming up behind them, like, what are you doing? And there's just men digging into the food and like wine.
What
and
you
shit.
saw in this.
Yeah.
So they're just overly fucking. They
Well-
just discipline broke down.
Well, they were
Pretty
starving.
much.
If you're
This
starving,
happened
you can't do much.
all over the place. Like obviously the Russians just gave up,
Yeah.
but the French had mutinies all over the place. The French had to start shooting their own men. They executed guys for not fighting.
To discourage
The
treason.
Italians too. My great grandfather, who was in the war fighting for Italy, actually has said, not to me, but to like my uncle told me this. This is secondhand, but he said that we ran out of food and then just gave up and went home.
Huh.
So it's like,
That sounds so Italian.
yeah.
There's no fucking pasta.
Listen,
No.
if you're not going to give me Parmesan oregano, I'm not getting in the trench. What, we got figs? You kidding me?
But technology, I think, hadn't caught up with the war by that point, because if they had a way to like quickly like follow up on this, like with I'm talking motorized vehicles, right, trucks, jeeps, they could have kept this going, but it's guys running on foot, and the cavalry had been destroyed by this point. Like horses are
machine gunners,
yeah,
artillery that fucks you up.
By like the end of 1914, nobody's on a horse anymore.
Except the Poles. And they will be for another, 30 years?
Yeah. But yeah, after that first couple of scenes, they have the big artillery bombardment scene.
Oh, it's awesome.
Where he gets trapped in the bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was cool.
And then it skips to November 8th, I think, 7th, 1918.
Is that date significant?
Well, it's 4 days before the end of the war.
It's close
okay.
And then the rest of the movie is just those 4 days, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like just trying to survive these pointless attacks when you know it's coming to an end.
Right.
It's got to be like so weird as a soldier in that situation. Like the war is over, or basically, you know you're not going to win. Like,
so why am I attacking? Yeah.
What am I here for? Almost, like
you're a grown man, and you're obviously going to have those kind of thoughts. I think these guys had just become so accustomed to this insanity that it just became normal for them in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. Like I was thinking about that while watching the movie. Like, it's over. Like, why did they go on that final attack?
Like,
where it's 15 minutes till.
Well, it was either that or get shot.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's just like I've been risking my life for a year and a half,
and we lost
nonstop.
And you want me to do it one last time for literally nothing?
Yeah,
dude.
Okay, might as well.
Well, the one guy that was like, "I ain't going," they dragged him to a wall and shot him.
Like death doesn't scare them anymore. Like, why did they risk robbing the farm again?
Yeah,
Well, they're starving.
Yeah, if you're hungry, you'll do anything. That's what they say in the movie. Yeah, that's the one. That's the strongest scene, obviously, in the movie. Is that last march? We're just like, really, like, why are you doing this?
You just feel how pointless it all is in that moment.
Yeah,
it's the most pointless waste of life. Yeah.
This war, do you feel like it was particularly pointless, Ant?
More than any other.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't need to happen. I think if you got all of the world leaders in a room to talk, it wouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. But
if there was like a League of Nations or something like that.
That is the strongest argument for that. But yeah, I mean, this particular one is just tragic.
Yeah,
it's absolutely tragic.
It was like, hey, we got some new weapons, let's test them.
Every one of these countries would have justified themselves by saying we're defending ourselves from you. Mm-hmm. Nobody's really the aggressor per se. I know Germany gets
I was
painted with that.
Somebody has to be the aggressor.
When you lose, I mean,
you're fighting over land. So
there was definitely like it's 19th
right?
century politics with a lot of saber rattling and like the Germans. If anyone's aggressive, like attacking, it's the Austrians on Serbia you know, as comeuppance for the Gavrilo Princip and the Franz Ferdinand.
And then you have all those alliances, which, you know.
Germany invades Belgium in 1914
Right.
to get to France. And they do it because they know that if they don't, they have no chance of winning and they'll be overrun by the Russians. So the idea is to take out France quickly and then parry and fucking fight Russia. So it's like their back is against the wall the entire time.
Mhm.
I can't blame them for what they did.
And I can't blame them for what they did because the French.
Right. The French are screaming, we want Alsace-Lorraine back.
Right.
You know?
And it's like the French caused World War II. Like, in my head.
With Versailles.
Yeah. They're the reason why more people died.
So I was thinking of that during this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love in the movie the
Ferdinand Foch.
that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He's so stoic and badass. Like
He's just holding their face to fire.
he's like, we won. You will do everything we
Yeah.
say. That's
Yeah.
it.
Here's the
The
terms.
movie makes it seem like this is Versailles.
And it's not.
It's not. It's the armistice. These are the terms for a ceasefire.
It's the precursor to Versailles, though.
Right. Well,
You
that's
know?
going to take over a year of world leaders sitting in Paris and hammering out a treaty. You
Yeah.
know, Woodrow Wilson's going to show up with his 14 points.
But in that year, people will starve.
yeah,
Like it's not like it's just like, oh, we're just gonna have a nice little. They're gonna be meeting and their people are dying.
yeah.
Well,
So-
I mean, and in the movie they have Daniel Bruhl, the guy from Inglourious Bastards and Baron Zemo in the Marvel universe.
Fantastic.
Which
Fantastic.
guy is
actor.
that?
The
that
one
the-
who signs the paper, like the
Okay.
ambassador guy
Yeah.
with the glasses.
That guy, the real dude, actually got assassinated by the SS later in life.
Really?
Yes.
That's fucking
Woof.
sad. But he like in the movie, because obviously everyone watching it knows World War II happens. He's like, if you like make us sign this, like it's just
Be fair to your enemy, he says.
Yeah,
something
it's
like
like-
it's like we're just gonna fucking, you know,
We're gonna come back.
we're gonna come back.
that. Yeah.
And it's gonna fucking, we're gonna have Hitler take this fucking your country
Yeah.
and then make you sign in the same train car and blow it up.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
He basically says that in the movie and warns it.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here
I
for years.
actually disagree with that, and I will say the problem wasn't the harsh enforcement. The problem was they didn't follow through on their harsh enforcements and they let it slide.
But what are you gonna do?
Well, the whole world.
Destroy
well-
an entire people and nation?
No, because they made these things where it's like you can't arm, you can't militarize, and all that shit. And once Hitler came to power and he started breaking that treaty, none of them stood up right away and were like, "You're not allowed to build an army, asshole," and like go in and fuck them up quick.
Well, that's the impotence of the League, right?
Yeah.
The German army was never defeated. No Allied soldiers set foot on German territory in World War I.
Yeah.
You know, they would have been if the war continued. Like Germany had no chance of standing up anymore.
Oh yeah, that's why they. signed the
Austria had capitulated already when this signing went down,
Mhm.
so they've lost that entire border. The Bulgarians have been destroyed, and the Turks, I think the British have already marched into Damascus. So it's like there's no hope anymore.
Yeah, it's all over.
It's over.
Yeah.
And if they do what the Nazis couldn't do, and that's save some lives at the end when the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, don't have kids
You know?
to fight.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
put 11-year-olds behind
But
machine
let me
guns.
ask you a question, Ant. Do you think, obviously, you know, we know Germany remilitarized. Let's say early into them breaking that treaty and remilitarizing, if like America, England, France, you
Well,
know.
America's not part of the League.
Okay.
So it would be on Britain and France mainly.
But let's say the second Germany starts to build the military again, they go in right away and enforce the fucking treaty.
I think the moment to do it, and I think it's in 1938, I've thought about this a lot, is the remilitarization of the Rhineland. So part of the Treaty of Versailles is the Rhineland, which is in Germany's industrial heart. It's occupied by French forces for, I think, until like 1922. Like the French army's just sitting in there.
Mm-hmm.
Once they're gone, Hitler sent an army in there to reoccupy it, right? And that is in clear violation of the Treaty of Versailles. He's bluffing. He's not ready for war. He's testing them.
Yes.
And I think if they gave enough pushback there, where he said, if you do this, we're going to war in 1937 or 38, whenever it is, that would have been the end of it. I don't think you would have had a World War II the way it happened anyway.
That's what I think, because I think a treaty and like terms like that are only good if you're going to enforce them.
Right.
And they didn't enforce them, which is why, obviously World War II happens the way
But
it happened.
to say that the Versailles Treaty is just is ridiculous. It's not a just treaty. Germany is shouldering way more than they're responsible for.
Yes, but when you lose, that's fucking,
It creates the Nazis. It creates the resentment that created the Nazis.
Right.
It does, but I don't know. When you lose a war, I mean, what's the alternative? They just go,
Woodrow Wilson gave 14 points to make an alternative. I'm not saying everything he said was correct either, but it is another way, a more just way.
There we go.
They threw that out the fucking window because the French and British wanted vengeance.
They wanted blood. They lost a generation of men.
Right.
They're fucking pissed. It's easy for us to sit on the outside.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so we're really not going through the movie beat by beat, I guess.
No, because
we're having a
the
conversation.
movie itself is very much charge, people die, charge, people die, charge, people die, and then the negotiations in between there for the armistice.
There's a lot of good stuff with the friendships between the guys.
There
is.
It's
I
love the
soldiers
scene when
talking.
the two guys are taking a shit next to each other.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
The one guy's a cobbler. He can't read.
Yeah.
Cats.
He has to have the other guy read the letter his wife sent him to him.
Which was very heartfelt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's a heavy focus on those relationships, but at no point are you like, does the story really tie in? Like those relationships don't tie into like the battles in any like significant way, or
other than
you know
you
what I
see
mean?
these guys
They die, and you're like, and you feel bad because it's like, oh, I kind of know something about that person.
Probably the most brutal moment of the whole movie is when his one friend, they get what's called trench hypnosis or something.
Yeah,
and he runs the wrong way at the advancing
artillery.
French, and they burn him alive with the flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
They just put him down.
Yeah, he
and
begs
it's fucking
for his
crazy.
life, and they're like, nope, you're getting flamethrowered. That scene is so
that scene is fucking
so brutal.
Like I'd seen the movie before. This is the second time I've watched it, and I knew it was coming, but still, that same moment
It's like
when they take that trench and then they see the tanks coming in the distance, and I just go, "Run! You need to run."
They try shooting
They're
first.
just
futilely
shooting rifle fire at the armored tanks.
Yeah, and they realize it's not working. They get hammered, and the deaths in this sequence are just so vicious, so graphic. Not for the faint of heart. But when you first see those line of flamethrowers, like the line of them doing like the trench at the same time, it's like, wow, that's a fucking work of art. Like that's just so cool.
So there's a moment which I really liked where they go to steal chickens like one more time. Throughout the movie, we see them be like chicken thieves.
Goose.
Yeah. Well, this is the end of the
This
movie.
is like the end, yeah. But we see them and they get caught and they're running, and
Run it.
it looks like they get away. The bass keeps running.
Yeah.
Boom. What do you think Fergie would think of this movie if she watched it?
I think she'd love it.
Yeah.
Like it.
Fergie's known to be a
History buff.
not just a history buff, but in particular, like she's a First World War buff. She goes to Verdun, the battlefield, and she digs up landmines.
Right.
She's trying to save lives because she knows that
She
every
knows they're
year
still
at least
there.
one French farmer will blow himself up with unexploded shells and landmines in France. And Fergie is a big advocate to put a stop to that. She uses her wealth and influence to
She
raise
uses her
awareness about
Fergalicious
landmines.
step.
About landmines for
Fergalicious
French
step.
farmers.
She does the Fergalicious steps through the mines.
she proudly, like if you go to the Black Eyed Peas website, you can look up how Fergie actually single-handedly stopped children from blowing themselves up outside of Sarajevo since the 90s.
It's always been her big push. Ever since she was the original, well, not the original. Ever since she did the voice of Sally on
Yes,
Charlie
as a
Brown.
child, she learned all about landmines in her time with Peanuts.
Yeah, Charles Schultz told her about how when he was in World War II, in between drawings, he would, go and put mines.
Yeah.
So Fergie got involved
Yes.
early.
She talked a lot with Mel Brooks, who, as we all know, was a mine clearer. That's actually true.
Really?
Yeah. Mel Brooks, his job in the war was he was one of these guys that would dig through the ground with a bayonet and look for mines. With a bayonet. Yeah.
So scary.
That unit was probably fun though, because he was just cracking wise, making jokes the whole time.
Did you ever hear his story?
Yes.
About where he was camped out on the Rhine?
No.
He says that him and his guys were camped out alongside the Rhine. On the other side, the Germans were on the other side of the river, and they could hear each other. And he was listening to them sing. And he actually does the song they were singing in Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
You know that part where the German soldiers are sitting on the side of the road? Yeah, they were doing that. And he decided that because he's Mel Brooks, needed to get up on like an embankment and do show tunes. And the Germans gave him a round of applause. They loved it.
That is a funny Jewish man. But so they steal the eggs, right?
Yeah.
And they get caught. And
Well, they eat them raw first again. Why does this keep happening?
Well, who has time to cook?
That happened.
Yeah.
That happened in electricity too. Everyone's just like, let's have some raw eggs.
when you're in a rush, fucking, you'll
Eat
take a
those
raw
calories.
egg. Yeah.
I get it.
Guy's pants were falling off him. He was so thin.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened to me in a long time.
Gotta do some sick
Yeah. I'm all about slick moves.
Here we go, Slick Move Saturday. It's Saturday. Slick Move Saturday.
But
Love it.
I like the moment where the little kid has a gun on his friend. And he's like, don't shoot, and he just kills his friend, basically.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of, like, the anti-Come and See. Because the kid has a little shaved head.
Oh yeah.
He kind of looks like the Come and See. And, like, the climax of Come and See is the kid unable to take that shot.
Is he?
When
Oh,
he's
he
like,
shoots the portrait.
well, he
all the
shoots the
time.
portrait, but then, like, it gets to the end and he doesn't pull the trigger.
Right. Yeah.
The kid just pulls the trigger.
Yeah. Well, you fucking robbed us a bunch of times. I was thinking about that. The French farm that they're robbing is in occupied territory. How did they let this guy keep a gun this whole time? You know? I
Yeah.
imagine this guy's farm is getting robbed like daily.
Oh, it has to be, right?
What
But
did
how
he
did the Germans just let him hang on
what
to
did he
that?
be supplying the lines? Like,
He doesn't have any
does
daughters.
that make sense? If it's just supplying the lines.
I think I was supposed to do this.
Like you hear stories, especially from the British, from early on in the war, about the rape of Belgium,
Okay.
which was like when the German army went through Belgium, they had to occupy all these towns, and all these towns have guys with guns in them. And they take pot shots at them, and they got a really bad reputation for like if a sniper takes out a German soldier, they'll just kill everyone in the town. You know, I don't know how true that is. This comes from like British propaganda at the time. They, they'll bring up stories about nurses being crucified, and it's like that didn't happen.
British propaganda.
Yeah.
British propaganda is always true, which is why we know Napoleon was 5'2".
Right, yes.
He was he was Jimmy the Hair Guy sized. You know. He was a cock. You know.
Right.
British propaganda is always factual. Eat your carrots; it helps your eyes.
The
It's not
Angels
because
of
this
the
is.
Marne.
It's not because this is cheap shit.
You know about the Angels of the Marne?
No, I don't know that.
It's another British story from the First World War.
That sounds like a great My Dying Bride song, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
The Angels of the Marne.
When the Germans attacked the garrison along the Marne River, the longbowmen from the Battle of Agincourt, the ghosts of them, appeared on the battlefield and shot the Germans with arrows.
Like Return of the King.
Yeah.
Fucking Bradley went to like the Shadowland.
Yeah.
It was like, once this is done, you will have fulfilled your oath.
So this guy gets killed by a young kid. Now, Paul, the main character, carries him to a medical tent to think he's alive. He finds out he's dead when he drops him off. It's like, well,
Was he hallucinating there, by the way? Like those conversations when he was carrying his friend?
No.
Okay, they were real?
It's just it was a liver shot. So it's like he's bleeding black.
Oh, no.
And he thought he fainted, but he actually died.
Live liver transplant.
Very scary. Scary stuff. And you get that final charge, which we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about this is Paul is kicking so much ass.
Yeah, well, he's just a machine.
He's taking out guys left and right.
Oh, he's an ass kicker now,
He's
yeah.
jumping in the trenches, stabbing guys. He saves the lives of multiple soldiers.
Yeah.
One of them is a really young kid who looks like he just got there.
Well, it's like a stand-in for him, right?
Yeah.
And then
It's like come full circle.
when Paul sadly takes a knife to the chest,
Bayonet.
a bayonet
From behind.
through his lung, and he dies. And the guy he saved collects his dog tag. And it's like, oh, the cycle just kind of
Yeah.
continues on and on.
They also had that great scene, which was poignant, I think, with the uniform in the very beginning.
Oh, that scene is really good.
Yeah.
He gets his new uniform, and there's already a name stitched to it.
And he's like so young and dumb and optimistic. He's
Yeah.
like,
Someone else.
this is someone
it just
else's.
didn't fit them.
Yeah. Let's just take that name off, and like it cuts
Yours
to
now.
it cuts to the floor, and it's just a pile of like names that they ripped off the
Well,
uniforms.
they're recycling everything.
Well,
Boots,
yeah.
Uniforms, everything just gets washed and then fucking-
But they're not-
It's a good scene.
They're not telling the kid.
Material has become valuable, and human beings not so much. That's the,
Yeah. They're telling the kids though, oh, these are, no one died in this. Don't worry about it. What's these red stains and holes? Ah, no, it's fine. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
I'll say this: they got good helmets to block the bullets.
Germans.
Their uniforms were in better shape than Brian's shirt, though. I'll tell you that.
After they've been through multiple battles.
I'll say this: the Germans are consistently the best dressed military.
Always snappy.
I don't know why they stopped.
I do.
I mean, why did they stop dressing the military? It's like, used to have such proper dress.
Well, all the militaries now kind of like have the same look.
You know the
Yeah.
Nobody's in the next war. Nobody's gonna know who they're fighting. They all look the same.
That's true. The Argentinian, I think it's Argentina. Their military is like old school Prussian uniforms.
I've seen them. Yeah.
Well, if you look at Russia and Ukraine right now, in order to know who you're fighting, you have to wear colored armbands so you can see a mile away.
Really?
Well, no, if you're in a tracksuit, you're fighing for Russia.
Squatting. They're all just squatting Slavs,
Yeah.
Putting on,
drinking
like,
vodka and
armbands
listening to
so you
Three
can know.
Poloski.
They all look the same. They all speak the same language.
Tripolowski.
So now we're in the questionable part of the neighborhood.
This area looks horrible.
So we're gonna have to be on guard.
They would be just the greatest footage ever, though, for the
Us
show.
getting robbed.
If like someone just puts like a gun in our face and just robs us on mic. I'm letting you keep your cameras.
You need to zoom.
You tell the world. Stay out of Jersey City.
You know you're in a dangerous part where there's bars on the windows. That's always the risk.
Yeah,
So I don't see many
what are you
bars
gonna do?
here. We're good.
At least we're not in World War One.
Yeah, that's true. Not enough barbed wire in the movie, too.
Yes, you're right. They could have used some copies of that. Show some Pamela Anderson. Some
Wow.
nudity.
Wow. Is that Barbarella?
No, that's barbed wire.
Barbed wire.
I think she also was
Oh,
Barbarella.
Barbarella was Hanoi Jane. Yeah.
But what do we rate this movie, fellas?
Rate it.
9.
It's a 9 out of 10. It's a fucking killer movie.
Movie rocks.
I'm gonna be a little lower than you guys.
Well, it's just because you're a bad person.
Actually true.
Yeah.
Just not a good man.
I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy.
Oh,
What? What did you give it, Brian?
Well, I was gonna say 7.5, but you said I'm a bad person, so I'm gonna say 8.
You can't. No. You can't be bullied. You can't be bullied into changing.
I just
your number.
was. I was bullied. I'm saying 8.
8. You didn't like the movie.
Nah, I'm gonna say 7.5. I liked it, but
It's not your perfect thing.
I like,
The opening scene though.
No, there's good shit.
Oh boy.
There's good shit.
Added a minute to the episode.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
There's good
Show
shit.
just keeps getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
It just keeps missing too.
I just wanted to hit an hour.
So we're on our way to meet Pat, and he's just gonna be confused. They were supposed to be here at 11.
Yo, where are you guys?
I told him we're coming.
Yeah, what time? 11?
I said we'll be there 11:30ish. So. Yeah, but everyone knows I run on brain time.
No, not everybody knows that. You're an adult. So, I mean,
It's good.
it's not perfect, but it's close.
There's really good shit. It's just like I just like when there's like more of like a questy aspect or something.
You like a Saving Private Ryan.
Or even if the guy had a kid or a wife that he like I want to get back home and see, just something like that other than it's like
The other guy had that.
yeah, but for the
It's not the main story.
it's not the main story. You know what I mean? Like I just like a driven
right here.
narrative.
They had. I feel like they could have took out one of the charges to expand upon like some of the story a little bit more about the soldier, but it's not about
You like the
that.
action scenes?
Action scenes are so good.
Oh, action was so well done, dude. The final trench shit was awesome. When the motherfucker gets crushed with the tank,
Oh man.
it's like oh shit.
Yeah. I would hate to get crushed by a tank.
I love it.
Yeah, but you also like that foot pedal shit where like a woman comes and like steps on your cock.
Oh,
Yeah,
crush
you
porn.
love that. You love that.
Do you know anyone? Do you know? Do you guys seriously know anyone who's into like crush porn?
No.
Maybe. You told me about it just now.
I mean,
first thing that
I've
came to
seen it.
Yeah.
I'm obviously jacked to it. It's not my go-to.
I didn't like it.
it a lot.
Hey, this is where we were, Steve.
Yeah, you do realize that Pat lives down the block.
Yeah,
from
that's
where we
right. Yeah.
live. Oh my God! Wait.
This
He
is
lives down the
exactly
block.
where we were.
He lives within walking distance.
Yeah.
What do you
We're
mean
right
where
there.
we were?
Yeah.
We're at the Burke Building.
Steve and I played
Came
Twilight
in.
Imperium with some dudes that live right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hung out in a pothead's loft.
Right. We didn't know them,
No,
and
it was a weird situation.
they just smoked pot for like 12 hours straight.
Shit everywhere.
They shit everywhere.
What do you?
I'm not even kidding.
They
like,
kept shitting.
kept shitting.
The
Oh.
game took forever because they were just shitting.
Like his stomach, all my stomach issues that night. And it, like a game that's supposed to take 6 hours took like 9.
It was a crazy day.
Weird day. We walked. Look, listen. Guy took a shit. We walked to get coffee. Guy was still shitting when we got back. The coffee was probably 3 miles away. It took us like an hour to get coffee, and the guy was shitting the entire time. It's impressive. But yeah, that's the movie. That's our ratings.
Nice parking job, Brian.
We made it safe.
One motion. That was good.
thankfully.
This is a good
When you're
spot,
when
too,
you're a
man.
good driver, they call you a good driver. When you're the best driver, they got one name for you. That name is Brian Rupert. I'll park your car if I can. You guys want to say bye?
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye. We want to give a big thank you to everybody listening and or watching. We greatly
Are you
appreciate
not
it.
gonna thank, Walt, you, Gannon, and Bri for letting us use the studio because
I was
you didn't thank me for the car.
it was in my car.
You didn't thank me for the car.
Thanks Steve for letting me drive his car. Greatly appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. Go to patreon.com. Patreon.com/reviewing history. I don't have my laptop in front of me, so I can't tell you what show is coming out the week you're listening to this, but I believe it's either Slasher School or Seinfeld School when you hear this.
What about the New Jersey State Bridge and Tunnel Authority?
Want to give a big thank you to to Easy Pass, New Jersey State Bridge and Tunnel, Google Maps,
This was great.
satellites. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, all that stuff.
Probably thank Chuck.
Chuck for the mics. Yeah.
You can see his name's on.
It says Staten.
Uh,
Is it Staten or Staten?
Staten.
Oh, that makes sense because
Call him
statin
Statin
is that like cholesterol medicine that old people take, and supposedly it gives them like bad mental problems. You shouldn't take statin. If you
Don't
can help
don't
it.
take statin.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll deteriorate your brain.
our Review History Pod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Follow the show on all social media at Review History Pod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Patreon.com/Reviewing History. Check it out. We got good shit there. Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert. That's with 2 P's. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye. You want to bump mics?
No,
I don't want to.
I'm not doing that.
We docked. All right, bye.
I am the P-Man! I am the P-Man!